Hello, everybody. This is the Cinema Night Podcast. We're here on a Friday night, special edition as always. Travis Roy, Eric Branch, Michael Govier. We're going to focus in on Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, when we focus in about a half hour or so for the main event. Does it hold up or not? That's what we usually do on the show. cinemanightpod@gmail.com and all the other stuff that we do. Travis Roy, here we are live and uncensored. How are you? What's going on? What's happening in the world of film?
It's like my bedtime.
Yeah, I know. I feel it.
This is what's going on.
I know it's late.
But it's you gotta mix it up every now and then. Try out different things on the pod, I guess. Different times of day I don't know. I'm reaching. How are you?
Yeah, society's got issues, but we're doing the best we can to get by here in 2023. And I just finished Ghost Dog, so it's as fresh, probably as fresh as a movie could be in my mind right now. Eric Brancham, you're back after last week. Welcome home, sir.
I spent last weekend in beautiful Bloomington, Illinois, home of Indiana State University.
Sycamores.
Excuse me?
The Sycamores, that's what they're known as. I don't know why they're called that.
I don't know. I went to a B&B. I just texted you some additional photos from that excursion. You'll find me standing in front of what looks to be like a shoddy motel.
Yeah.
Friends, this is the Braidwood Inn, as featured prominently in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. This is the very hotel where famous Those Aren't Pillow scenes happened. And where I'm standing in those photos is where the bench was, where Neil and Del waited for Owen, as played by Dylan Baker, to pick them up. And that's movie history in my eyes. I could not believe it. My wife was like, "Are you done? Is this enough pictures? Can we get the fuck out of here? Where even are we?" I'm like, "This is unbelievable. This is it. This is the place. Look, that rock, that was there."
Sweater vest.
Yeah.
Sweater vest. Yeah.
Love the sweater vest.
It's a hot sweater vest. Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't look. Yeah, well, of course. I didn't go the sweater vest route. I went like the what do they even call, like, polo shirt route? Never in my life did I wear polo shirts, but eventually I'm like, I am hot and I teach, so I've got to look somewhat presentable. So you'll find pictures of me in a polo shirt somewhere out there, embarrassingly enough. It doesn't look anything like in the movie, right? I mean, like, am I imagining things?
They hardly changed anything. It looks exactly like it on the exterior.
Really? This is no, I'm thinking of the wrong place. I'm thinking of where they bring the burned car in.
I was also at that one, which is in Gurnee, Illinois, with the big steer on the front of it, and yeah, that one's up north a little bit. But yeah, this is the other one. Okay, so yeah, fun time. But I missed Dream a Little Dream, man. I was just telling Travis, I had no clue this was a body swap movie because I'd never seen it. Like, I sat down to it. I'm like, oh, nice little teen comedy about some guys that like a girl, and then I'm sitting there, bored out of my mind, pissed, and then 40 minutes in, I find out it's a body swap, and I'm like, I'm out. It's over. I can't do this right now.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that was the crisis, that you just couldn't do it.
It's a small part of it, but no, something else took over and consumed my life.
I'm posting the link on our Twitter at Cinema9Pod, which you can follow us, just to let people know that we're live.
Yes, we are.
And I throw a few hashtags on there once in a while, like movies or 90, whatever decade it's from. And
sure.
This one, Way of the Samurai, is technically a 90s movie because it's from 1999. And when you type in the hashtag and put like 90s, there'll be a bunch that come up to like prompt you. I don't know why this is. One of them says 90s tits.
Okay.
Well, it's a special category of tit.
Yeah.
Very Jill Kelly, I think, is what comes to mind.
Yes, Jenna Jameson. Yes, of course.
Right.
So that means like a lot of people are typing that in tonight. I don't know why, but it's Friday night. Maybe that's how it is. Who knows? But
decade of Teton.
I've never seen anything like that on there. It's unusual. But yeah, Eric, that's really cool, man. Good for you. I'm glad you got to do that. That's a notch off the old bucket list here. There's a lot of music and movie history in the state of Indiana. I mean, Michael Jackson and the Jacksons are from Gary, and the movies, I think, are underrepresented. So I think that's really cool that you were able to do that.
Thank you, Mike. That means so much to me.
Tender moments here at Cinema Night Pod. Well, let's dive into what we like to call recently the movie Tidbit Minute, where we just talk about a few things going on in the world of entertainment. Travis, do you have anything that tickles the fancy for us tonight?
I do. I stumbled across a news story that I'm guessing you guys probably heard of. It seems almost tailor made for me. If it had like dogs in it, it'd be perfect because it's both movies and like a class warrior kind of moment. Have you guys seen where AMC is going to start changing its ticket pricing to charge extra for certain seats and other seats would be cheaper? What do you think?
Why did it take this long?
I mean, they were waiting for something like COVID to come and like.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I guess you're right.
I don't know.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. I thought they'd do this sooner. There's always gouging going on at movie theaters. They're trying to make money off the concessions because they don't have enough of the investment on the movie side. I get it, but I'm really just not surprised.
Yeah, I got to really start finding a backup tidbit. Every single week. I'm out of my mind with rage. Not that I go to the theater anymore. I'm very happy to stay away from it, but this fucking pisses me off. This is absolute horse shit, dude. You're telling me I got to sit there right next to someone with the better seats because they paid more. Like I remember like Elijah Wood was pissed off. He was talking about how it was fucking elitist as shit. It absolutely is, dude. I mean, this is so different from a live event. It's not even funny where there's poles and shit in your way. There's nothing fucking in your way. You just got to turn your head a little bit, you fucks.
Yeah, it's not an auditorium. It's not a live performance. It's not that kind of venue. So yeah, I agree. I think that the movie theater, it's a leveler. It should be. On the other hand, I am someone that, especially since COVID, I desperately avoid the middle of the theater. I want nothing to do with these people and their phones and their talking and their candy wrappers. So, I mean, I'm probably going to voluntarily pay for want the cheaper seats anyways, because I usually like to sit kind of in the back off to the side where the humans are less likely to be.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Was this a matter of time, Mike? Did they start thinking in the boardrooms like, wait a second, why don't we charge more if you're not like in the prime seating?
Absolutely. They're looking for an angle. They always are. And people will do it because it's been done in every other business. You pay more for seats at sporting events that are closer to or farther away. It's just, but in the movie's case, you won't want the best seat to be the one that's right in front of the screen. So
it wasn't that long ago that when you were waiting for the movie to start, there was music. And you could like sit and chat with the people next to you. And now you're entertained with commercials and news and stuff. And it's just gonna. Yeah, you're right. They're just gonna find always more and new ways to advertise to us and maximize their profit, which is their job, I guess. So yeah, I'm bummed about it. I also don't have to go to AMC. There's MJR closer to my house. I will continue with that.
It's more fun at MJR. Yeah.
Wow.
Eric, do you have a backup tidbit?
No,
that's
nothing.
Fine. That's fine. We'll just skip over you. We'll go to me because I want to talk about this. I mean, we're moving forward, folks. The Super Bowl is this Sunday, and that's always a big time for movie commercials or movies to like throw out a trailer possibly because it's a big event. It is. A lot of people watch it. And the Flash movie is happening June 16th, 2023. It's going down. And Ezra Miller is in that movie. And there's a new trailer / commercial that'll be unveiled with a new poster, which is talking about these worlds colliding now. And I mean, obviously, we've heard about forever about how Michael Keaton reprised this role. And this thing is a go. It's happening. And I know that the two of you have been pretty pissed about this, at least in our text thread, because we talked about it a while ago. And you're like, what? How is this still happening? You know?
Well, I mean, it's been such a slow motion shit show of Ezra Miller's descent into whatever they've been going through the last few years. And I don't know that we've had every detail, but a lot of it has been alarming and not the kind of thing that to suggest that they are someone who's able at this point in their life to carry forward a major cinema franchise. And speaking of resets, given everything that has been going on with DC, and then especially since Gunn and etc. came along, and they started even before that with David Zaslav, when they started canceling movies before they even saw the light of day and stuff. It seemed like a possibility. Yeah, it seemed like a possibility, even given the amount of money that they spent. Not that they would scrap it entirely, but I really thought that there was a possibility they would reshoot it But they're going ahead with it. Ezra Miller has been in rehabilitation, has been working on themselves for a long time, and they're a young person, and I don't think that hurting a woman is obviously never okay, but they didn't, it's not like they're a murderer, and ultimately, if this movie's good, and I'm less angry about it now, which is exactly what they were counting on, which is they know me so well.
This is textbook studio damage control, trying to wait out the storm so they can just keep on track and not have to put more money into the fucking movie. They think we're stupid. I don't forget these allegations and these absolute true facts from Ezra Miller. Stuff's unforgivable in my book. But from what my sources are telling me, the movie's so good that they're like, we just have to move forward, and we got to hope people forget, because like we want to keep going. Like Ezra Miller's really good in the movie. We want to keep him as Flash. So like they really are hoping this blows over so they can keep him in the DCEU and release this as scheduled.
Wow. I'll tell you what, one thing that will make it all go away even more is if it's a big hit and people universally like it. So
I didn't, but I was looking at an article with who's talking about Peter Safran, who's like the right-hand man for James Gunn, and he was also in a shuffle before that regime change, but he was talking about the Batgirl movie, and like someone point blank asked him like, what the fuck, that was some bullshit. And he's like, trust me, like that would have ruined, that would have fucked everything up. He said it was unreleasable. He said we could not release it. He said it was unreleasable, period. It would have destroyed the legacy of Keaton's Batman. It wouldn't have been good for Leslie Grace, because we would have had a like a cat, like a Halle Berry Catwoman situation where like the stain of that was on her forever. It was just such a bad choice for like a superhero endeavor. And just almost everybody involved. The guy was like, trust me, I saw it. It was fucking unreleasable, and it just had to go no matter what the cost. So I don't know, man. You guys didn't talk much about the Gunverse coming up last week, which I was kind of hoping for, but he doesn't want
us calling it that. He's very against that. Not the Gunverse. Well, he doesn't. I mean, because he doesn't want it like associated. He's not going to be directing it. It's not all going to be in his style. He's gonna have more of a role, like Kevin Feige. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I mean, it's the DCEU.
Well, everybody really thinks of Kevin Feige within 5 seconds of the MCU. It's going to be the same thing. But you're right. Okay, I get it. It's a technicality.
Well, no, I mean, because it's comparing it to the Snyderverse, which the Snyderverse has, even though he
never existed, really.
didn't really exist and had a very specific kind of feel. And so he's trying to he doesn't want to be compared to Snyder, and who could blame him? I guess.
I don't know. Well, they could have some fun with that Snyderverse.
We'll see if like these first few movies have like that whole Suicide Squad sardonic tint to it. I'm going to be calling it the Gunverse. If it's got that flavor, that's what it's going to be.
What a weird situation we're in now. We've got a holdover Ezra Miller who played the Flash from the failed previous universe, but we're continuing forth into a new era of the DC. This is wild. It's pretty wild that they didn't scrap this. You must be right, Eric. There must be I'm actually kind of I'm not really proud of this now. I'm really I kind of really want to see this movie now.
It's favoritism, because do you really think that James Gunn is? We know he's keeping Viola Davis, so he's not ejecting the Snyderverse completely by any means.
I mean, I am fucking heartbroken that Peacemaker 2 season 2 is not guaranteed to go forward. We're going to get this twisted version instead. It's a soft reboot. We're supposed to get more of Shazam as well after the new Shazam movie, which I'm fine with. I like that. I'm planning on seeing the new one in theaters. I love Shazam 1.
Wasn't Black Adam tied into that though? Real quick, I didn't see Black Adam.
Yeah. I mean, he's a villain to Shazam. He's not in the movie. He's like they don't show up in each other's movies, but he is supposed to be like a villain to Shazam. So it could keep the door open for that. And there's even talk of Momoa playing like multiple characters in the fucking DCEU. So who knows where this is going to go? But I mean, at the end of the day, it's been a wonky situation over there anyways. How different are we really going to be going forward? Now, if I agree, if it's like one set tone for every movie, that to me is a problem no matter who's behind it, no matter how much I love James Gunn. But I don't think it's going to actually be that different because we're going to have the Batman still a separate thing. You know, we're gonna have some of these actors and characters still continuing. So I don't think it's gonna be that hugely different, honestly.
And remember, I told you guys the one thing I was worried about was 2 Batman, and we're gonna have a new Bruce. We're gonna have a fucking new Batman, and we're gonna have Damian. We're gonna have Damian Wayne of all people for Robin, which is it makes no sense to me because you're gonna completely skip over Jason Todd. You're gonna skip over Tim Drake and go straight to Damian Wayne. That's a mistake. That's rushing that Robin character completely.
I think it's a safe bet that those characters will still show up as like alluded to, you know, previous Robins is my guess, that they'll just be like
BVS
adult versions of themselves, or they might rework it in some way, you know, bring them in later and just kind of change the order. I mean, they do that, like that, you know, they can twist the timeline if they need to, so long as they're not, I mean, because at least it's not a fucking Joker riddled Batman statue or Robin statue, you know, to the dead, you know what I mean? You know what I'm referencing here.
Okay, wait. So let's be clear. So the Batman we saw last year, that's over.
No, the Batman Part 2 is green lit.
Okay.
It's a go.
But there's gonna be a new Batman for like the Gunverse.
Sorry, the new Batman for the Gunverse.
Okay.
His son along with him as Robin, and it's a whole based on a whole storyline. Son of the Demon. I can't wait. But
there'll be a new Joker. There'll be probably 3 fucking Jokers, because there'll still be the Joker for Todd Phillips, and then they have the Barry Keoghan Joker.
Yeah.
It was outstanding in Banshees.
Fucking great.
Yes, he was. And they'll probably bring one into the, you know, or at least it's likely. So at some point, chaos still continues to rule that roost, but
I don't know, man. Those are properties that I'm still a huge fan of.
They should have done a straight reboot of every character.
Yeah, I'd like to see Nightwing. I'd like to see that in action. I'd like to see Robin on screen, legitimately well done, and put Chris O'Donnell way in the past if we could. I got excited when Batman v Superman came out, and they just flashed that dead Robin suit. That was awesome. That got me excited. I'm just thinking about where it was in that moment. It really hyped me up. But now that we are where we are, that was just trash.
Yeah, it was an Easter egg that fast forwarded through a ton of shit.
Right, but in the moment, I was like, "Oh, cool! Maybe we'll get like Robin reborn with one of the new characters." And it never happened. So. All right. Anyways, welcome to hell. It's tough out there, but we'll do the best we can here in Cinema 9. Let's move into quarantine viewing picks, where we share what we've been watching recently, whether it's shit or not. If it's Dream a Little Dream or if it's Backdraft, either way, we're gonna share it with you. Travis, what do you got?
I checked in on a couple horror movies that I really should have had watched sooner. I still haven't seen Scream 5 because I hadn't seen Scream 4 because I hated Scream 3 so much. So I finally checked in on Scream 4. It's fine. Yeah, it was fine. It was just fine. I didn't love it. I mean, I'll watch the 5th one. I think I'm ready to get out of that town and kind of try a new formula, because I'm like, okay, this is why I didn't really check in, and this is now over a decade old, because I figured I knew exactly what was going to happen in the movie, and I did. So we'll see what happens with the next Scream movie. I also checked out Body Bags, anthology horror movie from the great John Carpenter that I just never got around to seeing before. We seen this?
How's it hold up? I saw it when it came out.
I mean, for one, John Carpenter is fucking hilarious as his version of the Crypt Keeper, and it is just chock-a-block full of directors acting, like Wes Craven and Sam Raimi, and so many people are in this movie. Then other people like, you know, staples like Peter Jason and that kind of stuff. So it's very much fun, especially if you're a Carpenter completist. Definitely worth checking out. I really enjoyed Devotion, this new film starring Jonathan Majors and Glenn Powell. Glenn Powell is again playing a fighter pilot, as he did in Top Gun. There's not a lot of movies about the Korean War, and definitely not a lot of movies about that really slim that area directly after Truman desegregated the military. So in this movie, it's a true story. It takes place in 1950, just, you know, a year and a half, 2 years after desegregation. And Jonathan Majors plays a very real character of, I want to say his name was Jesse Brown, who was a fighter pilot in the Korean War. and the only black guy in his regiment. It was definitely really good. I also think that like as a historical movie, it's pretty true to the story, to the reality. And I could see where some people would be like, oh, well, that fell flat. Why isn't there like a big explosion? And why isn't there like why aren't they fighting each other like in, valleys? You know what I mean? Why isn't it like Top Gun? But as far as a dramatic action, historical dramatic action goes, I thought it was really good and solid acting. Jonathan Major's career is very much on the up and up, and I think Glenn Powell is going up places as well, big time. We'll see a lot more of him, I think, probably in both cinema, MCU and DCEU at this rate.
I'd like to see him cast in Adamantium, to be honest with you.
Blah, blah.
We'll see. He wants to play Captain Planet is what he's trying to do.
Yeah, he wants to do not Blue Beetle, but Booster Gold, who's a bonkers superhero.
Yeah, he would actually be really good for Booster Gold, I think.
Cyclops, he'd be a good Scott Summers too.
Oh,
he would. You're right. He would. Yeah, or a good Johnny Storm. Anyways, I didn't watch a lot actually. The last film that I watched this week is definitely the film I loved the most. And it made me angry at the Fabelmans because it shares so many of the themes that I think it's why Empire of Light got shut out of the Oscar nomination process for the most part. I mean, Olivia Colman gets nominated for everything she fucking does, it seems. And I think this might be the best performance I've ever seen her do. I think she's incredible in it. I'm really glad that Roger Deakins got nominated for Best Cinematography in it because this film is breathtaking, just gorgeous, and both a celebration of cinema and an exploration of mental health issues and racial issues, and a really solid period piece set in 1980 to 1981. I definitely recommend Empire of Light. Sam Mendes is Empire.
Oh, good old Sammy.
Yeah,
dang.
Okay, well then. Empire of Light to Eric Branch from Darkness Upon Us, or
Mike, I finally got around to watching Hoosiers.
Yeah,
so it popped up on HBO Max, and I saw Gene Hackman's smiling face, and I hit play immediately, regardless of the sports that are heavily involved in the film.
Look at that.
Is that a basketball shirt?
Wayne football?
I'm wearing a football shirt.
Dang.
Yeah, my nephew's football team. Go Pioneers.
Look at us.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, is that Wayne University or like Gotham University from...
No, it's not a university.
I'm trying to cram in as many BVS things as I possibly can. Sorry.
Yeah, loved it. Loved it. It's like... It was like a perfect movie. Like, I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this film at all. Like, beautiful story. Like, incredible. Dennis Hopper was so fucking good in the movie. He had me weeping and wishing that we would have gotten more performances like this out of him while he was around. Like,
it was unusual.
I'm fucking like yelling in my couch, like, fucking, you gonna do Koopa Troopa? You're gonna fucking do all this stupid ass shit, and you got this
Waterworld
caliber talent. I like him as Deacon in that, but like, just the dumbest shit I've ever seen. Oh my God, he was so good in the film. I love this. Barbara Hershey. I'm laughing because like they nail this small town, Mike. This like the small town politics where like fucking everybody's involved in like the team. Like the sheriff busts into the locker room pissed about like a play.
Yep.
The sheriff.
It's more than a sports movie. It's a real good feel good movie. It is.
Gene Hackman is so goddamn good, and he's got like all this complexity that they just hint at instead of just spell it all out. These big speeches. Oh man, it was so good. And then I watched The Exorcist 3 because like there's a lot of talk. Like there's a lot of talk about how underrated this was as a horror movie, and I'm finally like, all right, what's all this talk about? I saw it. And I checked it out again, man. Like we got a really, really strong, like first hour is fucking fantastic. Sets the tone. Like it sets the table for this eerie mystery, like at a hospital. There's not even an exorcism. They had to like write it in, like after test screenings were like, no exorcism. They're like, oh shit, go film a quick exorcism. And they did. And like the last half hour is fucking terrible. And nonsensical. Bizarre, but yeah, good first hour.
Did Bill Friedkin come back for that one?
No, No,
He
Bill
didn't.
Blatty, who wrote the original novel, came back and directed and wrote this based on like his sequel that he wrote after he was fucking pissed at the Heretic Part 2.
Yeah.
And they filmed like half of that, and then the studio was like cramming all this stupid shit, and they fucked it completely.
Do you need to see The Heretic to watch number 3? Because that's why I haven't watched 3 yet. Because I hear good things about 3. I hear terrible things about 2, but I'm like, I guess I got it. Someday I got to sit down and.
Blatty made it a very specific point to eliminate any possible allusion to Part 2. Okay. So
Maybe I'll just skip that and go straight to 3 then.
Tubi. I got caught up in Toy Story, so I watched Toy Story 3. I'm weeping all over myself, declaring it the best threequel of all time, pretty much.
So good.
And I make the fucking mistake of letting it roll into Toy Story 4. I'm sorry. This is inexcusable.
I hate
it. I was fucking mad while watching it. What they did to these characters pissed me off. I'm a grown man. I get it's not made for me, but I have a brain, and I grew up with this. Like Woody and Buzz were they're like my friends. To see what like these newcomers into Pixar do with this shit script they have no business even bringing to the development table, fucking made me so mad. And Pixar's to hear that Bob Iger greenlit Part 5, I'm just like shaking.
Of course they did. Of course they did. It's a moneymaker regardless.
Hopefully they make up for number 4, because I'm right there with you, Eric. I know that, like, I love Last Jedi, but I know that for you, the portrayal of Luke feels like a betrayal to you personally.
Yep.
And that's how I feel about Toy Story 4. I'm like, you've taken this tremendously noble character and just turned him into a piece of fucking shit. Why? Why would you do that?
That leaves his family for no real good reason, and leaves his family like not even understanding, just depressed and miserable.
It's just like, what? Who? Why? How did this? What? Yeah, I'm with you.
Let's ask Ghost Dog, see what he thinks.
Insert RZA soundtrack.
No comment. Wait for the narrative. Okay, well, but Pixar's dead anyways now, right? Isn't that the rumor?
What?
They've gone to hell in the handbasket over the last several years. That's what people tell me.
Dude,
I've heard that from other people.
I'm sorry, know nothing about animation.
That's why I said other people, not me.
No, I don't know where you heard that. I've never heard anyone say that.
Well, it's tricky. Lightyear was a fucking disaster. It cost the studio millions, and people are pissed. But
recent times, I'm saying last 3 to 4 years.
No. They've had 2 bombs, maybe 3 bombs. I mean, that's pretty fucking good.
Turning Red was fucking fantastic, and that was also last year. It was just early last year.
Right.
No, we're gonna write this course.
No, they're fine. Yeah. I mean, if they can recover from The Good Dinosaur, they can recover.
I love The Good Dinosaur. I'm telling you, that's one of the most underrated Pixar movies there is.
It's like watching beautiful paint dry. But all right.
Aside from the rest of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, which after 4 more seasons at 35 episodes each season, I'm spent. A lot of insurance scams, a lot of like murdered wives. I can't take anymore, dude. I'm glad it's over. It was starting to get very, very exhausting. Same story over and over again.
There's a video on YouTube here. YouTube, it says, "Why is Pixar terrible now?" ? This is January 2022.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it from like the Daily Beast? Is it from
Giant Freaking Robot?
Yeah. Is it Breitbart?
I don't know.
Like, is it because it's mostly the complaint that Disney too woke, quote unquote. That's not a complaint about Pixar. It's just like, oh, Disney's woke because blah, blah, blah. They had a gay
Disney's
person.
A fraud. I mean, they're not woke, and they
but they had a gay person in that one movie in the background, so they're woke.
Hey, good for them. Okay, well, look, welcome to hell. Anything else, Eric?
No.
No. Okay, I didn't get to watch much. I had offered a lot last week. It's real short for me, but I wanted to go back and talk about You People. Now, me and Travis talked about it last week. The truth of the matter is I had watched about 55 minutes of the movie when we talked about it, and I figured I got the gist. So I watched the last 40 minutes or whatever it was, and then I thought about it, and I was like, I don't like this movie at all. And the reasons I don't like this movie is because I don't like movies where you're meant to just feel so miserable and on edge. It is Meet the Parents-esque for sure, where it's like, oh, everything can go wrong will just go wrong because, Eddie Murphy doesn't want things to happen, and the other mother from the performances by Julie Louise-Dreyfus are still great. she mastered the boomer who's trying to like be cool and like relatable in a terrible way.
Yeah,
so she nailed that. And Eddie Murphy was, like I said, I liked his performance, but what I thought about more is how it doesn't make sense. They allude to all these things about Eddie Murphy's character where he suddenly has that epiphany in the car with Mike Epps, like where he suddenly changes in that one car scene. But like yeah, you used to get crazy. Like, what is that about? Can you fill us in on this past that his character had so we can get a better understanding of maybe why Eddie Murphy's character is being a little too harsh towards Jonah Hill? And that's just one bit of it. There's just a lot of, I think this did a lot of, there's a lot of negativity here about race relations in this movie. It's done very, very poorly. I think about my own life experiences. Forget about anybody else, what anybody else says. It's just not like that. I think I look around at what Kenya Barris has done. I don't think he's very good either. I don't like his work. I'm not a fan. And I think what happened here is a mystery to me, because I'm still not sure how it quite came out the way it did with all the talent involved. And you find out that the kiss at the end is also CGI'd, which is just stupid. But like,
amazing. It's amazing.
Wow.
Why? Why is it a CGI kiss? It's incredible.
Yeah, it's just a silly thing.
About? Was someone not available to shoot the scene?
No. They filmed it with their faces like up like inches away from each other. And if you watch the clip, you can literally see like their faces like blur into one another.
That's fucking stupid.
Very
once you hear it, you're like, oh, yep, there it is.
Yeah, I didn't notice it when I watched the movie, but when I heard about it and went back and watched the clip, I was like, holy shit, that's exactly what's happening there. Yeah. Pretty wild.
I just think forget any talk about wokeism or like politics. Just get all that shit out of my face. I'm just talking about a film as you watch it. It's unpleasant to watch. A lot of talent there, missed opportunities, and I think it is a negative towards race relations. I think it paints unnecessary and flat out absurd portraits of how white people and black people interact or how they would respond to one another. Not in all the situations, but in enough of it where I'm like, oh, this is disappointing. And that's how I feel about it now. And I just wanted to get that clear.
Oh, shit.
It's okay, Eric. It's okay. Dan Blummer's here. He says, hi, boys. Travis, I was just blasting Dinosaur Jr. and loving it per usual. Eric, great to see you back and hope you had the best anniversary. And Mike, word up. Heyo. That's all I get is word up and heyo.
Thank you, Daniel.
Oh, man.
Thank you, brother.
Jeez, I don't
maybe
have
you should have maybe you should have a baby or like Dinosaur Jr.
I like Dinosaur Jr. That creature on the poster haunted me for the past 30 years.
30 years.
I was actually thinking, this is weird. I was thinking about Jay Massis when I was walking up a stairwell about 3 hours ago.
As one does.
I know. Well, I was listening to a song in the headphones. So,
was it really, really, really painfully loud?
That's what I was thinking. I thought about, well, this is a studio version, so it's normalized, but I was thinking that the worst tinnitus in the world has to be residing in Jay Massis's ears. It has to be.
I'm amazed that Mascis has not gone deaf.
Right.
Anyone that's ever gone to any of his shows has.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Dan. That's very. I love you too, buddy. I hope you're doing well. And if you're not doing well, that's okay. Yeah. Anybody who's ever been to a Dinosaur Jr. concert, you do.
Yeah, you do.
That's pretty much it. I wanted to cover that, and I just didn't get I watched some Family Guy in a few moments, but I didn't really get to watch the other movies. So.
Oh man, I forgot. I watched Clerks 3.
Shit!
I don't know why.
God, I gotta find that.
I watched the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, just hoping. I had a glimmer of hope because I love Jay and Silent Bob. Specifically, they make me laugh.
That movie's terrible.
Look at him.
The reboot, I didn't bother.
Yeah, the reboot's terrible.
So you didn't like,
man, dude. I know you had a lot of great things to say about it, Travis.
I loved it.
I hated it so much. I was pissed almost the entire time. Like I talk all the time about these movies that like they come back and then just everything gets taken away from the character that you love and their life is miserable now. This is like the worst example of that when it comes to Dante. And then it's an alarming message at the end, which is essentially if your life sucks, just give up. That's the message of the fucking movie.
I did not get that at all.
Okay, I gotta watch it. I want to be the third party on this one.
I get your point about him being miserable because he is. which I'll grant you that. But I definitely, I mean, I don't want to get into any spoilers or anything, but I did not walk away with that feeling at all.
Absolutely.
That's what moviegoing's all about. Everybody gets their own.
I found it a life affirming experience to borrow an Eric Branstrom descriptor for film. Life affirming. I found it
Eric Branstrom gets out of the theater on a Friday night. Just saw Adaptation 2002.
Kick the door open and the door embrace you and say, Mike, get to the theater right now.
My life has been affirmed. That's right. Yes, it was.
I've always, what does that even mean? Like, you are alive. Like, you feel alive? Like,
that's
what it means? Okay.
Alive. Yeah. It's like
the movie lets you know.
Well,
yeah. Mike, we'll talk about it, man. We'll talk about it.
Give it a shot, Mike, so we can get the.
Yeah, I got to find it so I can watch it. I'll find it somewhere here in Canada. Okay. Well, there it is. We talked about some of the movies we watched, recommend, and Cinnamon Eye Podcast, cinnamoneyepod@gmail.com. And we're going to move into now the focus here of this episode, where we dive into it, we break it down in detail, we cover all kinds of angles. Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, 1999 film directed by Jim Jarmusch, starring Forrest Whitaker. Travis, did you ever see this movie before? Let's go back in time. Can you recall the first viewing?
Yeah, I saw it when it came out. Because in '99, I was in full independent. Well, for much of the '90s and early 2000s, I was even more than now, like into full independent movie mode. So a new Jarmusch picture, I was definitely going to check it out. And I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw it as soon as it was available on DVD. And I watched it then, and I think I probably watched it one or two more times over the next year or two. But then I hadn't watched it in a really long time. It'd been like 20 years. So I was happy to put eyes on it again, revisit.
So nice to see Henry Silva again.
Old, I mean, like that face, man.
Yeah.
Face. We lost him in September of last year. So,
oh my God, he was still going?
He was 95 years old when he went.
Wow.
Face got more aged looking.
God, I was just thinking of Dick Tracy nonstop.
Dick Tracy.
That's all I can think about.
Imagine 95-year-old Henry Silva's face. Just imagine.
Oh.
Ooh.
Wow. Leathery. So, Eric, you never saw this film, but you chose it, correct?
No, Mike, I was like you. In '99, I was like, Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, dumb title. I have no interest. For the past 24 years, I was like, I'm sorry. I can't get past this title. It's too dumb. Love Forrest Whitaker.
Neither one of you had seen this movie before?
No.
Oh, my God.
Is that funny?
That's funny.
Yeah. I couldn't get past it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't commit. The title was too dumb.
I agreed. I was like, what? What is this? What's going on here? And I just moved on with my day.
Terrible title.
I mean, this was 1999 where The Matrix was big. American Pie was big. I liked Hurly Burly then, but I just didn't find time, I guess. My fault. I blew it. But that's okay because I finally watched it. So let's predict the rating here. The IMDb rating on this film. Having never seen it, I could go in fresh here. It's a Jim Jarmusch movie, so it'll probably get some respect. I'm going to say it's a 6.4.
Oh, I was thinking 7.3.
Mm-hmm. I'm with Travis, man. The reason I picked this is because I kept seeing it on these most underrated of the 90s lists. So I'm like, let's give this another look, man. I'm going to say, 7.2.
Wow. I've never been more off. 7.5.
7.5.
Wow.
Yeah. That's about 93,000 ratings, a rock solid number. So, boy,
I like it.
I don't know. We'll talk more about this film, of course, because we're doing it right now. But maybe I just misunderstood something about how the public viewed it. But with Rotten Tomatoes, where we like to give you the score from the IMDb point of view, and then, of course, share the critical responses with Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai. 83% versus 86%. Very tight. Very tight. 83 from the critics, 86 from the crowd. And as far as what the critics said back in 1999, well, we've got 101 reviews, apparently. And let's see. Goody Goots? No.
Desson?
Maybe. It'd be nice to get Desson on this
Honeycutt?
one. Honeycutt. It was a fun one we haven't heard in a minute. Yeah. Wesley Morris is a guy, of course, in the year 2000 said this. Jarmusch, with his noble sincerity and real affection, can't begin to give this grisly, somnambulant essay on the cross-cultural matrix of violence born of overstimulation and numbness, a life of its own. Splat.
Okay.
I would think he would like this movie too. So what the hell do I know?
He must have bought a dictionary that day.
Yeah. What does that word mean? I admit when I don't know everything.
Sleepwalking. It's like sleepwalking.
Oh no. Gosh. Well, what about Ebes in 1999? Roger Ebert said the following. By the end, Whitaker's character has generated true poignance.
Brief.
Unusual for Ebert. Usually we get a little bit more from Ebes, don't we?
Yeah, he's usually much more verbose. We got Peter Travers. It feels like a prime time for Peter Travers.
Good old Pete Travers, Rolling Stone. Here's this guy again. Remember this? We got all confused. Ty Burr. Burr's back from Entertainment Weekly. Ty Burr said the following. Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, he types out the whole title, brings the minimalist director who found fame with 1984's Stranger Than Paradise back to the land of the living.
He had been making movies pretty consistently that entire time that were well received. So I don't know, big guy.
I guess Ty Burr wasn't a fan. A.O. Scott from the New York Times, a paper of record, said, sure. This is shorter than any Destin Thompson review. Fascinating, but uneven. Well done.
A.O. From a man whose name, his very name is abbreviated. It's an excellent review in brevity.
That's true. No Peter Travers available, and that's pretty much it. No Destin. Not seeing any other the classics. I'll give you one more. Jay Hoberman from The Village Voice in 1999 said, Ghost Dog is an impeccably shot and sensationally scored deadpan parody of two current popular modes, the Hitman glorification saga and the Cosa Nostra family drama. This is the year The Sopranos, right after Sopranos got going, right? So,
yeah. 99, sure.
Yeah, this is the year they got going. At least one actor from The Sopranos, and Richard Portnow. He played the victim, the nephew that gets shot in this, and he was also Junior's lawyer.
There was a couple guys from Casino and Goodfellas. There was a few mob midnight 90s mafia classics in there.
Yeah,
the guy talks like this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I'd have that guy.
But yeah, that guy. But he wasn't in Sopranos that I recall. I was kind of
he wasn't. No.
I'm watching the movie. I was actually surprised that there wasn't more overlap. I'm like, how come Victor Argo was never on The Sopranos? He seems like he was tailor made for the show, but he wasn't.
Also, so Damon Whitaker is Forrest Whitaker's brother.
Oh, who is he in the movie?
Or wait, his son, because he played young Ghost Dog, and I didn't look this up. Obviously, they look alike and they have the same last name. So,
wait,
they're brothers.
Young Ghost Dog, the in the flashbacks when he's getting saved. Oh, I 100% thought that was Forrest Whitaker.
I know, but look,
brother.
Yeah, look it up. It's on the IMDb cast list too. David Whitaker plays young Ghost Dog. He was born in 1970, so.
Not his twin brother. He looks exactly like him.
He does.
What's the purpose if he looks exactly? He doesn't look anything. He's not more slender. He doesn't look younger. He looks exactly like him.
Well, he looked thinner. I thought the young Ghost Dog in the flashback with Louis, he did look thinner. I'm like, wow, did Forrest Whitaker really go all out just for like one flashback scene? I didn't think so. But I was confused. I was. Okay, so can we talk about Jim Jarmusch real quick? Can we get a real quick history on how Jim Jarmusch is a guy that I don't have as much experience with. I know who he is, and I've watched some of his films, but I'm not like a Jarmusch lover. I've seen Broken Flowers and Coffee and Cigarettes. Was that another one he did? Or the one where it's the black and white and everybody's just bullshitting? I've seen those two, and Broken Flowers is really dry, and I also feels like Jim Jarmusch movies are kind of paced slowly, and there's a lot of silence in his films. Is that accurate?
Yeah, he kind of quirky kind of city filmmaker, lots of very artistic. Growing up, I was a ridiculously huge Tom Waits fan. So when I learned that I remember seeing Dracula and being like, whoa, this guy acts too? What the fuck? So then I had to start digging up other movies that he had acted in, which of course included Down by Law. So from a pretty young age, I started watching Jarmusch movies, Strangers on a Train and that kind of stuff. But he always felt like someone that I liked, but maybe not as much as maybe I was supposed to as a film lover or something. You know what I mean? Like a little kind of pretentious, a little twee, but good. And maybe I didn't always get it. So, but I didn't rush to theaters to see his movies, but I would typically, catch whatever came out, like I did with this, and like I have with most of his stuff since.
Yeah, I tried, man. I tried with Down by Law. I tried with Strangers in Paradise, I think is the movie. Yeah, and I think I tried with Dead Man too. They always were just very disposable experiences for me, like very avant-garde, very New York indie. Like just I walked away like, who cares? Like people wandered around for like 2 hours. There were some conversations that didn't stick with me. I couldn't sink my teeth into anything Jarmusch until Only Lovers Left Alive, like in the 2010s, which I adored. So yeah, that's probably why I wasn't in a rush to get to this one.
Is there any more cruel of a comment than disposable to a filmmaker? Hey, that was real disposable, dude.
Well, when it leaves no residue and you
I know exactly what you mean.
Walk out of a theater.
I'm surprised you'd say that about Strangers in Paradise, though. I always found that, especially as a Elvis fan, I just feel like, as you are, it's to me that's one I've only seen maybe twice. But man, when I think about it, it's just like an imprint to me. Like it's just really like as a piece of art. But I could see if you didn't connect with it, then yeah, it just feel dry. And I guess it was
like 17 too last time I saw it. So yeah, it might be time to reinvestigate that catalog. We did get an email, Michael, our good buddy Chad, who a friend of the show, of course, our American History X episode, one of our best. He did write to us, gentlemen. He says, thanks for tackling Jarmusch. Now, Ghost Dog, he says, is a nice pick, but I'm not sure if it would crack his top 5. Now, Jarmusch, he tells us number 1 for him has got to be Dead Man. Okay, I've heard a lot of things about Dead Man. Great film, one of his favorites. He says, are you guys Jarmusch fan? What's your favorite? He'd throw Down by Law and Stranger Than Paradise on his list as well. So he's a fan, but it sounds like we're struggling with this filmmaker.
I got nothing else with other what I said about the 2 movies I've seen.
What's the name of the zombie movie he did?
Yeah, Dead Don't Die. I just heard it was awful.
Damn it, that made me angry because it was so it was so presumptive to make such a generic cliched zombie movie as if as if he just discovered the genre or created it himself. You know what I mean? He was doing all this stuff like, whoa, man, like this stuff has been done 20 times 20 years ago. Like what are you doing here?
Is that the joke?
I don't know. I don't understand that movie. I did like the song, the music from it.
I saw Adam Driver and Bill Murray, and I was like, oh my God, I really wanted to see it. I remember being really excited about it. But
he can get a cast together.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah, of course he can. His name, hey, it's you. Okay, we'll do what you want to do. You got bozo hair like David Lynch.
You guys, he also was on Fishing with John. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Remember Fishing with John?
Oh my God, dude, that was it's so funny.
Yeah, that was him and his buddies. What's John? What's the guy's name? The actor John from Down by Law and God, I'm blanking on the dude's name. I'm embarrassed that I'm blanking on his name because he's kind of like a indie legend. But he had his own TV show where he would just fish and have different people out there from like New York stars for the most part.
John Lurie?
Yeah, John Lurie.
Yeah,
that's right.
Willem Dafoe was on that show too. Apparently,
that's one of the best episodes is the Dafoe episode, but the Tom Waits episode is the best.
I saw one clip about something about fishermen, and they're like they go and get hookers or something. It was really funny. It made me laugh. Yeah, I got to watch the whole thing for sure.
That's funny.
Okay, so yeah, Jim Jarmusch exists. This is his movie. He's got white hair, like I said, David Lynch bozo hair. They have that in common. Steve Martin head. But Forrest Whitaker is the star of this film, and in 1999, this is before Last King of Scotland. It's before he became, Academy Award winner for Best Actor. He was, I don't know, he was a working actor. He was solid, but I mean, he was not somebody that I would put on the A-list, I guess, even if he was somebody who'd worked in a lot of film.
I mean, I'd be hard pressed to name a film before this that he was the star, like the leading actor in.
Exactly.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah. Bird, he played Charlie Parker. He was fucking fantastic in it. I loved him in Color of Money too. I was a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the project comes together solely on this guy's shoulders, and I'm sitting here watching it. I'm like, I can't imagine anyone else as Ghost Dog. Like, let me rephrase it. If Steven Seagal played Ghost Dog, this movie would suck.
Oh,
in my opinion. But it's all on Forrest Whitaker if you think about it. He like almost all of it.
There's things about it I have mixed feelings about. Like the gun movements where he moves the gun around and reholsters it like it's a sword is fucking stupid.
There's so blood on the gun. So why would you do that?
Yeah, I'm glad you love it. I thought I was dumb. On the other hand, like I like that he is devoted to this ideology, to this lifestyle, but he himself is not like he's not Jason Bourne. He's not, he's not Bruce Lee. He's not someone who has like a ton of physicality, but what he can have, he's trained and he can use his body really well and for him. And he's like a big dude and he's not super nimble, but like what he does in this movie, I believe it. You know what I mean? He doesn't need it would be unbelievable for someone to have late in life come to this, like after they almost died, and then have like Steven Seagal's level of skills, right? Like it makes more sense for him to be kind of, wobbly.
I remember him in Fast Times when he was young. He played a football player who was a badass. He was athletic. So to me, I thought of it through that lens. As he got older, of course, it was 17 years later that he did this movie. Yeah. But I thought he moved gracefully, and it didn't fool me or made me feel like his efforts in any way were silly. I loved because he took this character, he took it all the way. Like the way of the samurai for him, there was no compromising ever. Like there wasn't one thing where he's like, well, I'm going to let that go. This guy, I mean, you talk about like the most fundamentalist of any type of sect you could imagine. That's what he is in this movie.
You say that, and yet he practices his swordsmanship like a monk, but never uses his sword against his enemies. Like, remember in that awesome scene where he goes back into his coop and he like unlocks that thing? I was like, yes, they took all of his guns. Now his only weapon, his trusted samurai sword. And he's going to go out there and start slicing people up like the bride. No, he gets a gun.
It talks about with all. Okay, so first off, we should mention that there's how many? Like 10 of these? At least 10 little breaks of his quick narrative points from the samurai book.
Yeah, from the
Haguraki?
The Hagakure, right?
We're idiots. We sound like
this was
idiots.
This was borderline full body massage style screenshots of passages.
Well, these are actual passages from the book, though.
But did it not remind you of full body massage?
No, it reminded me of the Tao Te Ching because like half of what's in there is Taoism and the other half is Buddhism.
Well, visually speaking.
I have read the Tao. I've never seen the massage movie you're talking
about. That's a full body massage classic.
I'm aware of it, of course, but I've never seen.
You should have So. Yeah, so you get those peppered throughout the film, and one of them was about, the generations and the responsibility you have to the generations. And I thought there was also something about adaptation. So, yes, he could have used the sword, but like he also adapts to the current environment to survive. And so for me, I still felt like he was following the code as he interprets it. Like he's following the code as he sees it.
Yeah, no, I agreed. I mean, that to me, the weapon was not the point. The devotion to the principles was the point.
Retainer.
He is just retainer. Now, I mean, but I can't watch this movie and not be like, how can we not make more of the fact that we have a black man calling a white man master?
Yeah, that's a problem.
This is it seems like this should be a bigger element of the movie, and it's not.
I honestly did not think about that at all. I didn't because he followed this code and he felt he owed the guy his life. So
I understand. I understand. It's still like, but I mean, so it's less about whiteness and blackness as it is about the two ancient tribes.
Yes,
is what I got. So I mean, I think it bears mentioning, but it's also it's more about the mafia and like gangsters, I guess, or whatever. I don't know what his tribe is necessarily. he's a little like it's referenced, but I sense sort of like gangsters because like gangsters are like some of the only people that can see him when when he's like moving about in the world. Like a lot of people like just like don't even see him.
Yeah,
but some do. Those are usually gangsters, and then you sit there and you listen to them rap about you while you eat ice cream.
Yeah, and the Italian mafia crew we got here, they also they lump blacks and Native Americans together as the same creed with racist tirades and epithets. So they give you their viewpoint of how they see things. One thing about me about the movie was, why do they get so pissed? Like, it's not explained at all. And it doesn't have to be spoon-fed to me, but why do they get so pissed that he carries out a job for them, but the girl just happens to be there? Why are they so pissed about this? They wanted the guy dead.
Oh, because they could connect it to him or to them, which they don't want the other guys in the crew knowing that they ordered the hit. The only thing that didn't make sense to me about that is that because I assume because he was a nephew of the guy that talked like this, but then the guy that talks like this is just like another thug. He's not like above them. So that I didn't understand, but I guess I just didn't want him knowing that they ordered the death of his nephew, which seems excessive. So I agree, a little bit convenient to just be like, oh, we got to kill this guy. And
we're arguing about the conditions and rationale of mafioso that are straight out of Mickey Blue Eyes. This is the dumbest crop of Dick Tracy level cartoon motherfuckers. Silly, ridiculous.
I love it.
So dumb.
I love it.
You've got Ghost Dog, who's a badass, an awesome character. One of the coolest characters I've ever seen in a movie. And you've got no threat. These aren't menacing villains. They're fucking stupid goofballs. Not once was I ever scared of them. And I could have easily been. Just give me one scene.
I don't think you're supposed to be afraid of them, dude. We're not supposed to respect these guys. These are fat fucks in cardigans. These are like fat old dudes that are fucking cosplaying. When Victor Argo is dying, he's like, "Well, say this at least he's taking us out like real fucking gangsters." And a few of them kind of make remarks like that. They're remnants of this thing that used to be a real threat, and now they're just like the pudgy grandsons of the guys that really lived the life. And maybe that's partly why they're pursuing him, is because they don't actually get to engage in that much mafia shit. And so, you know what I mean? So a lot of it is like pretending.
That's a great point, Travis. Like, you can do that for sure. I guess like my point is like, you have Ghost Dog, who's like the last remnant of this ancient code. Give me at least one remnant of the Italian mafia as a threat. Otherwise, I just don't care, because I'm never in danger. It never feels to me like Ghost Dog is in any danger.
I see what you're saying. I thought it was an honest representation, kind of in the vein of The Sopranos with the New Jersey crew. They're not glamorized. There's no glamour whatsoever. And I love that about this movie, that Travis's point is valid too, but to me, that it's really like that. There's a Gotti out there, but like a lot of these guys, their life is not glamorous at all. They're all, it's like it was in Donnie Brasco with Sonny Black and his crew. They're always jealous of Sonny Red, and they're like high class. They're like the losers.
They can't even afford their fucking little hideout.
Yeah, the bust open parking meters.
That's it right there. I mean, like Sonny is supposed to be like this intimidator, like who sits around the table with his other major guys, but then this fucking landlord comes in and dresses him down in front of everybody, and then no one will look him in the eye because no one wants to pitch in.
I'll have the rest tomorrow.
Which is
the landlord is the biggest threat.
So fucking funny.
That was funny.
They're fucking role playing. They are not real serious, but it doesn't mean that they can't be dangerous. To me, the worst, like the thing that made me go, oh, in the movie was the poor dude that got killed for being a black pigeon keeper.
Yes.
Because these fucking assholes just show up and shoot him. But so like, even though they're dumb and they don't really follow a real code anymore, and like all of this stuff, they are still dangerous, at least to other people, if not someone who's prepared to handle them like Ghost Dog.
And two things about Sonny. One of the coolest deaths I've ever seen on screen. The way he gets shot up the fuss, up the pipe.
Ghost plumber.
Yes, dude, that was sweet.
Plumber.
I yelled like, hell yeah, that was awesome.
I love
and
that.
then this is what maybe Jarmusch does. Like you talk about quirky, and I do like this aspect. It makes me actually want to watch more of his films. That Sonny loves Public Enemy. He loves Flavor Flav. He's sitting here dropping epithets, racial epithets towards black people, and then he starts doing the lyrics, and then he has that whole dance scene singing along to Flavor Flav. I couldn't think of anything more American than that. I really couldn't.
And he's talcing up his button nuts as he's doing all that too.
Yeah.
Yep. That is so classic American hypocrisy to the T. It really, especially for white people, it really is. Eric, does that upset you? You okay?
For one thing, I love that murder that takes place in that bathroom. I really loved it the first time it happened in The Killer, John Woo's film. The exact same thing happened 5 years before this.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Okay, it's worth knowing.
Yeah. What's with these? Like, what's with Jarmusch in these fucking cartoons? Like, I'm sitting here like, how pissed should I be? Is he like saying that like this is how dumb the mob is, that they're like buffoons or watch cartoons? Or like, what is he trying to say here? What is this? What did you get from it?
There's something between all of the narratives we get from Ghost Dog, like I said, like 10 of them, and we also get like 8 to 10 cartoon snippets of various cartoons, old ass. Yeah. Even Itchy and Scratchy finishes it off, which is technically not even a real cartoon from a cartoon show.
But it's a modern cartoon because now the daughter is going to carry on and be like the new boss, right? With Louie as her right hand man, and she's watching the newer stuff, The Simpsons. But okay, Eric, you're so angry. I don't understand this level of anger. But to me, we these interspersals of their two codes of where they turn to learn them from themselves about themselves, right? We have the Hagakure, which is what Ghost Dog is using, this sacred text to him for which he bases his entire life around. While these other guys, we see them watching cartoons over and over again, but I think what the cartoons represent are glorifications of violence on television and just like stuff that they learned as kids. Because again, like they're pretending to be real mobsters, they're pretending to be real gangsters, and this is where they're just like playing stuff they've seen in fucking movies like The Godfather. They're just playing this shit. So I think that's, to me, that's what I got from it. That's what's going on with it. I mean, Jarmusch says like, I just wanted to put cartoons in my movies. Like, no, you didn't. You didn't have like 9 fucking scenes of cartoons in your movies just because you wanted to put cartoons in there. You're trying to tell us something, and that's what I got. That's what they learned from.
Huh. Well, the big boss, he loves his cartoons. He never laughs. Henry Silva doesn't crack a smile, but he loved the cartoons, and so did his daughter. So I don't get it. Whatever, who cares? But
like this outfit is done. Like, you're gonna tell me that like just Louie and this like kid are like gonna be running the show for this district in terms of this this corner of the mob? Like, what is this? First of all, there's no way that like Louie is gonna follow her around now. Like, he's intertwined with Ghost Dog, so he has this choice. Do I align with Ghost Dog now? And like I say, well, you know, let's, like, you save my life, blah blah blah. Now I'm your life debt, blah blah blah. Move on, which is so much more interesting than him just wanting to kill Ghost Dog so he can like be the right hand man of the only other person in this outfit, which is like this kid.
Isn't that the point? Isn't that the point? Rather than appreciate the sacrifice and devotion of his most like constant true person, he's going to instead sacrifice that person like a dog in the street, right? At the hand of his own master. He's going to kill him and just pursue fucking bullshit. More of this bullshit way of life that is based around fucking fantasy, and instead of like true principles.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about the way he has to go out either. I understand.
We're not supposed to like it. We're supposed to be angry.
Okay, yeah, we should be pissed, but he's not. It feels like Ghost Dog could have gone out in a different way, but it was never going to be a way where it was like, you know what, I'm cool with this. It was just going to be a bogus ending. I'll say this: thank God, at least that kid shows up about 40 minutes in the movie on the bench, and I'm like, oh no, is this going to be one of those like It's gonna be like The Professional but terrible. There's gonna be like a kid involved all the time, and I'm gonna hate it. But thank God that didn't happen. So good news there. The kid goes away, and then you got the friendship with his best friend, the Haitian. Is he from Haiti? I mean, is that?
He's from.
I mean, he speaks French, right? So I think he's
French.
I feel like he's a Haitian immigrant.
Is that where he's from? Is from Haiti?
Yeah, that's be my best guess because they speak French there, unless he's French. But either way,
he's Sakta Bankole. He also was in The Limits of Control, the Jim Jarmusch movie that I hated the most by far, unfucking watchable movie. But he's got such a face. I love his face.
He does have a face.
Good face.
He's in Black Panther, the Black Panther movies too. He's one of the one of the elders.
He's the guy with the thing.
With the thing, yeah, that's him. Man.
I knew it as soon as you said it. I knew it. He does have a face.
That's him. He's got a face.
Oh.
When he meets Pearline, Ghost Dog, he like yanks. So he's going through her books and he yanks away Frankenstein and like reads her the end like a dick. But it's one of many references earlier in the movie telling us like he's obsessed with suicide. He's romanticized suicide. He's romanticized his own death. The very first thing in the movie is him talking about the code of the samurai, meaning like accept your death, and like he's talking about how he the best thing he could possibly do is die in service of his master. So that's why he smiles when his master kills him. So I think a lot of what he's doing is like he's trying to maneuver this and make this happen.
Cognitively be aware of death every day until it happens. Yeah.
Dude, the show's resident Frankenstein professor. We picking up on these illusions? Like I think Ghost Dog, he knows like he was reborn by Louis, essentially. I mean, he is the creature to Louis's creator. And yeah, he's indebted to him, he's entwined with him, and ultimately he's killed by him. And I think he does kind of lumber through life with this this haze of self-hatred in him for a lot of the movie. But dude, this kid, like Ghost Dog's like the worst mentor in like any movie. Like I like that he wants her to read and stuff, but like I'm sitting there thinking about this at work today. I'm like, he introduces her to like his own, he's trying to get her to be like him, which is like the worst thing that he can do because he's a fucking killer with the
he doesn't see it that way.
But I mean, you know what I'm getting at here? I mean, like you're gonna set off this kid who's clearly like a smart kid, and like you're gonna put her like literally in the line of fire in some of these scenes. You're gonna push her towards this violence, then you're gonna basically hand her the mantle.
What's the guy's name? Isaac Debancole's character, the ice cream man's name.
I don't know.
Raymond, right?
Raymond, yes, Raymond. Yep.
So when Ghost Dog's getting shot, everybody runs away, and Raymond literally grabs the girl and holds her in front of him, more or less,
and closer and closer.
Watch this.
What are you doing?
Check this out. Yeah, that's odd. Okay, that's fine. But I will say that Jim Jarmusch really has a patience for comedy because there's not a lot, but when that guy. I mean, Ghost Dog is walking down the sidewalk. He's just checking out the neighborhood. And then he sees, this guy is about to get mugged. He's got his groceries. And then that guy unleashes 2 roundhouse kicks on him. I laughed so hard. It was so sudden and out of nowhere that it was so refreshing to see that. I thought that was hilarious.
I agree. He's got such a weird sense of humor, but I also think that he's just likes to plug random shit into his movies. Like for instance, when Ghost Dog is cruising around listening to the Wailers and like looking for someone whose clothes to steal, he passes this drunk guy like getting behind the wheel of his own car, like he's like fumbling to get into his car. There's no purpose to put that in there. It's just like, hey, look at the hellscape. Look at what other ways people are fucking up tonight.
Who was the Native American guy who was the guy who didn't get killed? You know, we said the black
stupid fucking white man.
Yeah, he's just there in one scene. Like we never get any connection to Ghost Dog or the pigeons.
No, I think that he is that's not Ghost Dog's place, right? That is a different.
Oh shit! Is that what it is?
Yeah, another dude that's housing pigeons on his roof.
Yeah, you're right. That was more urban. Ghost Dogs looks like it's a little bit more remote than it's not in the city.
They're just going to places where coops are and they're like attacking.
There
people.
you go. Thank you. See, look, you just clarified that for me. Now, we need to talk about animals are a big part of this movie, Travis. And I know how important animals are to you. So I want to get your take on animals in this film. Animals were murdered. Pigeons got killed. I know you're not as big a fan of pigeons. You did say in the show once that maybe there was a few too many pigeons. Is that fair?
Did I? No,
please.
I think I just referenced that pigeons originally were domesticated, and then people stopped keeping them as pets, and that's why they're just out there.
Yeah,
passenger pigeons.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean the dog. There's a dog in the movie. Nipples, lots of nipples on the most sorrowful looking dog I've ever seen in my life.
Didn't want the ice cream.
Somehow she both looks like the saddest dog ever, and also the gargoyle things from Ghostbusters at the same time.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
cool.
Very unique looking dog. I was waiting, but the pigeons, I meant to check. I'm like, I assume these are fake dead pigeons in his bed and strewn about. I assume.
Yeah.
Pretty realistic dead pigeons. I don't think
get
away with just killing pigeons for a movie. I hope.
I thought it was a great idea. That today in 2023, if you're trying to commit crimes, using carrier pigeons is genius. It'd be a great, more than ever with so much technology, it actually serves a greater purpose than it ever did before. That just kind of popped in my mind as like, wow, this guy really is smooth. He's smart.
That said, do you want to pluck it off their leg and then eat the message? That's like,
well, I never said anything about that. I'm not cool with that. I'm not eating it. A gross bird leg message that the bird probably shit on, or at least a remnant of shit was on it. So
it's a bird.
It's poisonous. That stuff's poisonous for humans. Not good to eat bird shit. So.
His tendency to interlay messages in this manner definitely makes him I guess untraceable to these mobsters, and yet everyone in town knows exactly who he is and where he lives.
Yeah.
Even a kid?
Well, but I think again, they're getting at the differences between the communities, right? Because to these fucking mobster assholes, anyone who's not a white guy is all the fucking same to them.
Good call.
Whereas to them, it's they keep to themselves and they protect their own, etc.
That's a great point. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. I didn't think about it like that, but that makes all the sense in the world. That's good. That's very good.
Is RZA playing himself?
I think so.
Peace and equality.
Yeah.
He's right. He's just kind of walking down the street. There's the RZA. He knows Ghost Dog.
Was this the first time he was on film? I felt like it was his debut. Because 99 seems like
he well, he was in How High the same year, right?
How High was a year or two later. I think it was 2001. I'll double check, but whatever.
God, that movie. I need to rewatch How High.
That's a funny movie.
A long time.
It was a funny movie, yeah. Yeah, How High was 2001.
Okay. What was he?
Could bring it to the table. Could be a future Cinema 9 movie.
I've actually already considered it.
How High?
Yes. All right.
I've considered it.
How High?
Yeah. I guess that probably is the first RZA performance, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that's my guess too, because Wu-Tang Clan explodes mid '90s, and he's in all kinds of movies like Funny People, and you see him all over the place.
Yeah.
It's getting quiet.
So here's a question. Jim Jarmusch is definitely someone who likes to defy convention and not follow what you expect, and he's not afraid to bore you. Does the movie suffer from having what is basically the climax of the movie with 40 minutes of the movie left? Because you have this big crescendo of action where he's going into the house and killing all these characters who we've gotten to know but not their names throughout the first half of the movie, and then you're watching the movie well, now what? Almost everybody is dead. Does the movie
I was like, how in the fuck we got 40 more minutes?
Right?
Well,
okay. Did it drag at that point?
Sonny was still alive, so I knew that still, to me, I see what you're saying. It was a huge moment, but we still had to take care of Sonny, who was, I guess, Ghost Dog really saw him as the ultimate scumbag, even more than the guy who, Henry Silva's character, who ran the whole thing. But, so, yeah, I didn't take too much steam from it for me, but I did notice that, oh, wow, there seems to be a bigger bar, the bar where you watch how much time's left in a movie and streaming these days. I'm like, oh, there's a little more time left than I thought there would be at this point. But I thought there was a lot that needed to be wrapped up still, because we hadn't gone back to talk to Raymond, and I knew that him and Louis would have some type of confrontation again. Or I thought they would have I didn't think it would go the way it went in the end, but it didn't bother me too much, no.
Yeah, I was never bored during the movie. I was into it the whole way. And that's the weird thing about the film. Like, I could have watched just Ghost Dog driving around in his neighborhood for like 5 hours.
Someone
doing
finally
nothing,
mentioned it.
not
Finally.
saying anything.
Okay, well,
I
if
was
you want
totally
that,
cool with that.
if you want that, maybe you would enjoy The Limits of Control, because that's essentially what that's. You're just watching a hitman walk around, and that's pretty much
I'm
it.
into that.
What I'm wondering is, does no one listen to CDs? He never has to. Ghost Dog never has to eject a CD first. He's just able to always just slip that right in.
Oh, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because when he pops in that CD early in the movie and it's got that took me back in time with the lights, and like, remember like when things got really fancy
stereo?
with your stereos, they're like, oh, look at the lights will like move simultaneously with the rhythm of the music.
Yes.
It was a big deal. Yeah, that
Crash
took me
your
back.
car while you're driving because you're distracted by the light.
Yes. Yeah, that was cool.
Dug it. Man, what else? What are the notes you have? Oh, I've got a note. Throwing an ice cream cone into a trash bin that has no bag in it is a total dick move.
Yeah.
Did that bother you?
It is a park garbage can, I will say that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, but there's gonna be a lot worse things in there by the end of the night than that. To me, a bigger failure was, don't we eat the cone? Why are we throwing away the cone, sir?
Ice cream's good for you.
Ice cream's good for you.
And then oh yeah, it turns out.
Bad news. I thought that the also, while we're talking about like weird little things you just throw in the movies, and usually I'm like, why are you showing me this? Like, you're just dragging your movie out. And there's parts of this movie that felt like that, where I'm like, okay, this is an hour-long movie that they're shoving stuff in there to pad it up and make it of length. But by the same token, a scene where you have an English speaker, a French speaker, and a Spanish speaker all trying to discuss building a boat on the roof of a building that's just fun. That's just wild and weird, and so like
smell a spinoff.
Not even that. It's so unique in that moment. Like, it's just such a colorful thing to throw into your movie, and it's memorable and fun. And so like, where I often would get, regular listeners know, I'm like, chop 20 minutes out, chop 15 minutes out. Why are you putting this shit in there? But this movie, I think the padding actually works because it's either, crafting more narrative about how the characters work, or it's just interesting stuff like that that's just kind of fun little vignettes.
Yeah, that's what he does, right?
It speaks to another thing I do like about the movie, which is a really broad sense of cross-culturalism, especially in that scene, because I mean, the guy building that boat there that cannot possibly launch it could be thinking the same thing if he's watching Ghost Dog fuck around with his sword like on the roof. Like, what are you gonna do? Go kill the fucking or the fucking guys were in Kill Bill.
Bill.
But yeah, there's a lot of interesting things to be said. Like,
it's a great soundtrack. I love the music too. The
fun soundtrack.
On the soundtrack itself too, there's just like the score is really goofy at times. It's also a little bit more sentimental in certain moments. I like that it's kind of a varietal. You really can't pinpoint it and lock it all in on one thing.
You think Jarmusch picked the songs?
Hell no.
Doesn't seem like it. I don't know. He doesn't use this kind of score or soundtrack in like most of his movies.
I feel like I don't know enough about him, so what the hell do I know? But I would say no, but I don't know.
There's RZA's in the movie, and there's a lot of wu-tang and some RZA songs and other like just like independent like songs in the movie. So I kind of like found myself wondering, I feel like maybe RZA like was like an uncredited music supervisor or something.
So that makes all the sense in the world. In fact, yes, that's exactly what it was. Because
look it up.
Yeah,
you did.
All right, he did every single one of these things on the Way of the Samurai soundtrack. RZA. It's all RZA.
He just did the music.
You nailed it.
We should have just looked at the fucking credits before we.
Well, you did nail it without looking though. So congratulations.
All right,
you got RZA there. Jim Jarmusch was smart enough to at least say like, okay, I got RZA right here, so I'm going to defer to him entirely.
Is it all unique? Is it all original for the soundtrack?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's cool. So it's just it's a RZA album.
Yeah.
Yep. That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't know that. There's probably lots of people listening right now who are like, fucking idiot. Yeah.
Well, it's, the Wu-Tang guys, the Wu-Tang did their thing, and then each Wu-Tang member does their own individual albums too. Right, so I don't know if this was a pre-made from the movie or not album by RZA, but either way, it's a RZA album. Yeah.
And of course, we know that RZA and Jarmusch went on to have a regular working relationship, anyways, because he's appeared in a few other.
Yeah, he was in that shit movie with the zombies, right?
Yeah, he popped in there, and he was in Coffee and Cigarettes with Bill Murray. Bill Murray, yeah, yeah. Well, we made our comments about this film. It kind of seems like we're running out of steam for it.
I think we've done what we can. I'd like to say, just in case we didn't clarify that, yes, Forrest Whitaker was fantastic in this movie. He was so damn good from every angle possible. I was just a fan of his work in this movie, whether it was the quick little pointers about the samurai way of life or just being patient and cruising the streets at night and wearing his gloves. Oh, by the way, biggest bullshit item in this movie was this thing. That I was like, where did you get this fucking thing that can start a car in 1999?
Yeah, it unlocks doors and starts cars. Like
biggest load of shit in that film by far was that machine, that contraption.
I agree. I love the moment where he takes the stolen suit and shows up and like pretends to be a realtor, and you get this glimpse of the powdered rouge moment. You get this glimpse of who he could be if he wanted. Like he could be outgoing and gregarious and all this stuff. So I really, I agree. There's like a full commitment to the character from Forrest Whitaker in this movie, and I respect the fuck out of it.
Yeah. What else can you say? The performance is so good. Like he doesn't have to, in my book, he doesn't have to do anything but just stand there, and I am completely enamored. You cannot say that about a lot of actors.
Yeah. No, you can't. Yeah, he's got that. You've really seen that. I think even later in his career when he played roles like Saw Gerrera and stuff, like he could just have this look where you're just like, Jesus Christ, so intense. This guy's so intense.
Yeah.
Well, you brought it to the table, Eric. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. I've been wrestling with it all day because I did watch it for the first time yesterday. And I was wrestling because while I'm watching, I'm like, God, these shots. This guy, Robbie Mueller, shot it. I'm not that familiar with his work. I loved his work on Mad Dog and Glory because I do remember that being like a really rich, cool-looking, noirish type of film. But he's mostly worked a lot with Jarmusch. I love the way this film looks. It's the most crisp, like close-ups and pans and long lens shots of people looking at other people and this adversarial eye contact throughout the entire movie. That's really cool. And like all the kills are fucking awesome. And like, this is like a few years after Professional where people were really ramped up on the whole, like Silence PP7, like right in that era, man. Like the silence gun, like a cool kill, and it's fucking all awesome. And I think that's why a lot of people got jazzed about it, because there's this cool fusion of hip hop and samurai and Western for a ton of this. It's basically Western. So there's a lot of stuff I love here. And then Jarmusch, he throws in this, the only adjective I can use is just goofy. And it always bugs me when you have this awesome thing and then just there's this goofy stuff in it. Tarantino does it a lot. He has something totally awesome, then he puts this goofy stuff in here that for me just always just makes me roll my fucking eyes to the fucking central casting mafioso here that puzzle me. I mean, it really comes off like Jarmusch just doesn't like gangster movies. It just comes off like he thinks Goodfellas is stupid shit, so he wants to make fun of them. That's all it comes off as to me, is like, oh, this is fucking stupid. I'm just gonna make them all dumb because gangster movies are fucking stupid. So I'd be hard pressed to say that that's not, in being honest. But what it all comes down to is I think this is an entertaining movie, and it all falls on Forrest Whitaker's shoulders, man. If you got Seagal in the same role, like I said, he's fucking dumb if you ask me, but he's so soulful that it sells it, and it just carries it over the edge into holds up territory for me.
Beautiful. You want me to go as a first-time viewer and close it out as the veteran, or what?
Sure.
Okay, as another first-time viewer, Eric, I really just have so much respect for Forrest Whitaker. I love what he does in almost everything that I see him in, and he's a murderer. He follows his code, and it gets romanticized and glorified, but yeah, done 12 contracts for me over the last couple of years. So he's killed at least 12 people. It could have been 2 people per contract or more. Who knows? Who knows how many people he's murdered, but yet he's so lovable. It's so silly, but it is. And gosh, yeah, like all is really owed to Forrest Whitaker and what he can do with a role. So I'd also read that this movie probably wouldn't have existed without Forrest Whitaker. So that makes a ton of sense to me because I could see how this played out. He is the film, and everything else just has to kind of fit around it. But he doesn't dominate the movie either. He does what he's supposed to do in a really beautiful and really authentic way, and then everybody else plays their part. And forget about Jarmusch or whether he's overrated or not. I don't care. This one movie right now, Ghost Dog, it's got some really goofy, funny moments that surprise you. The guys talking it out like, well, he's not black, but he could be Puerto Rican. We should murder him. Like that is just, to me, seems like an authentic discussion that these morons, these dipshit mafiosos would have. They're charged with murdering somebody, and they've given a few kind of loose rules about what to do and what not to do. I just think that kind of stuff I really enjoy because to me it's authentic because these people are morons and the real life people, as Travis said, though, they're still very dangerous. So that's what's frightening about it. And in the end, I think it holds up. It's a lot of fun. This movie holds up. Ghost Dog's a cool movie. I'm really glad I got a chance to squeeze it in. I would have missed something if I had not seen it.
Yeah, me too.
All right, yeah, I'm glad you were able to join us and that you're able to watch the movie and comment with us. I also like your use of the word authentic, especially for Forrest Whitaker's performance and also like for the character. You know, this character could be such a joke. To have, you know what I mean? To have like this urban samurai dude, like it could just be, and especially with this fucking name, Ghost Dog, the way of the samurai. Like, but Whitaker brings such sensitivity to it and like joy. This moment when he's like he's got the sniper rifle ready to take out Henry De Silva's character, and this bird lands on the barrel, and he's like just like, oh, like looking at it like, oh, this is how wonderful, but it makes him lose his shot, but he's not even bothered by it because he like loves the bird. So I think that there is some attention to detail when it comes to the authenticity of the book that he's following and of the principles that are laid out within it, and then it's superimposed with the ridiculousness of these other people who claim to follow a creed but don't, and it's really just based around like tradition and film representation. And I, for one, like I don't love Jarmusch, but I like him, and I love Tarantino, and to talk to me is to have me, I will go from the very deep issue to a complete stupid caca pee-pee joke at the same breath, because I think levity and seriousness exist at the same time. So to me, I like the way that this movie straddles those lines. And I really, one of the things when I watched the movie the other night and it was over, I was like, man, that ending is almost like Hollywood. It's like almost like this overly done Hollywood, the two cowboys facing each other down in the street thing. And it's almost like, and then I thought about it, I'm like, well, yeah, it is. It's supposed to be. This movie is taking these classic movie themes from samurai films to Westerns to mobster movies to like gangster flicks, and finding the connective tissue between all of these different genres and using them as building blocks to play with. And in that sense, I think it's actually really brilliant. I don't think it's a movie, I don't feel like, oh shit, I really fucked up not watching it over and over again the last 20 years. I don't know that I'm going to watch it over and over and over again, but I do think that it's one of the stronger and maybe more accessible of the Jarmusch movies. And I actually really like this movie a lot. It definitely holds up for me.
Likes it a lot. There it is. A clean sweep for Ghost Dog, The Way of the Samurai, coming this summer. I don't know if it was a summer movie or not, but there you go. Nice choice, Eric. I'm glad we got to see that film. And if you have any comments, send them to iPod@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of it. Next week, I'm going to choose a movie. That'll be one of these films. I think I'm clear on what I want to do here. I just was thinking it over, and I don't think we've done this. We may have done a movie with him, but not classic him as we got to know him. So I think we're going to go back. I think we're going back to the year 2000, and we're going to do a comedy, just a straight comedy, which is always interesting. I think we don't do enough comedies on this show, and I'd like to throw in some more comedies if I can. So, yeah, we're going to do it. We're going to go to the year 2000, and we're going to do the Farrelly Brothers. I don't think we've done a Farrelly Brothers movie yet, have we?
I knew if I was patient, you would pick this for me.
2000s, Me, Myself, and Irene.
Oh, shit. I thought you were going to say... I thought you were going to say Outside Providence. Maybe that was 99 or 98.
Oh, that was 99. And I love Outside Providence. But I'm going to go with a Jim Carrey comedy. I feel like
Myself and Irene.
Yeah.
Michael.
Wow. Eric, is this bad news?
Me, Myself, and Irene. All right. Well, maybe it holds up.
Have you ever seen it? You ever seen
it? Yeah.
I'm looking forward to its sensitive portrayals of mental health issues. We should also mention that Mike and I will finally, in real time now, tomorrow be doing our MCU Phase 4 episode. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, we're just gonna record it, I think, and then we'll just upload it tomorrow, right? We don't have to do it live. I don't think we don't.
Sure.
We can do it live. I don't care if we do it live, but we could also just record it. I don't care either way. We're doing it tomorrow.
Be tuning in. You guys watch them, so I don't have to.
Yeah, Me, Myself, and Irene, a 2000 comedy, and we'll see how that one plays out. To me, Outside Providence just holds up too easily. So I chose this one because I feel like, man, I don't know. It's been a while, and I do, just off the top of my head, recall some very
racist,
questionable things. I'll just say that. So, but I did laugh a lot when I was 20 years old. I thought it was hilarious. And that's why we do this show. Go back in time. Find out now, does it hold up or not? That'll be the show. Sound reasonable?
It does.
It does. Okay, that's all that matters. All right, he's Travis Roy, Eric Bradshaw, Michael Govier. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We appreciate all of you, and we'll catch you next time.
Passenger pigeons have been extinct since 1914.